All right, for this video, we want to look at how we record a payment made with our extension request in TurboTax. We've got one slide with some background information that we'll go through, and then we'll jump back to the TurboTax platform and walk through the various screens we need to look at in order to enter those payments. So just some background on the 1040 deadline. So the 2022 Form 1040, this is going to be due on or before April 18th, 2023, right? Now, taxpayers can file an extension request, and that's done by submitting 4868, and this gives you an additional 6 months to file your return. However, and the IRS makes this very clear, although that extension request is granted automatically, it doesn't give you more time to pay your federal taxes. So you can file the extension request, the IRS will approve that automatically, you get another 6 months. But if it turns out you owed taxes, those payments should be submitted on or before the 18th of April. Right. So we always recommend making a payment with the extension request, right? So by making a payment with the extension request, it will reduce the dollar amount of underpayment penalties and interest that is going to be charged to your final taxes owed balance if you do submit that payment later. All right. Now, the IRS, again, they are going to accept the extension whether a payment's made or not. So obviously always make sure you file the extension even if you can't make a payment. But obviously we also recommend you do make the payment for this reason, right? You'll be able to reduce the amount of underpayment penalties and interest that the IRS is going to assess. Now, the extension request amount needs to be separately stated on the return in a very particular spot. Right, so in previous years, extension requests, payments, estimated payments made throughout the year, they were all just reported on one line item. But now that we have Schedule 3, the payment made with the extension is reported on Schedule 3 in Part 2, and then ultimately we're going to see this wind up on page 2 of the 1040, line 31. And that's different from estimated tax payments, so those 1040 ES payments. Those are separately reported on page 2 on line 26. And so we'll certainly look at the form after we go ahead and update it. But if we jump into TurboTax here, where we enter the payments that were made with the extension is in the deductions and credits section. So on the left-hand side here, select deductions and credits. And then we want to scroll down to this part here, right? Estimates and other taxes paid. And then specifically, we're looking at income taxes paid. So there is a separate screen for estimated payments made during the year, but if you make a payment with the extension, you're going to enter it in the income taxes paid section. So if we click on the start or revisit option, and then you can see here payments with extension. So there's obviously a variety of options because you make extension payments, possibly for federal or state purposes or even local. So they give you 3 options here. In our case, we're just going to be looking at the federal extension. So if you made a payment with your 2022 federal extension, enter the amount in this screen here. And so let's say that John, he filed his extension in early April, and he made a payment. So he actually made a payment of $10,000, right? So be very, very precise about how much you actually pay, right, down to the dollar. If you put in a wrong amount that was submitted, that differs from what was actually submitted, the IRS will send you a notice highlighting the discrepancy, and then they'll adjust the balance owed or the refund amount. So go ahead and hit done on there, and then let's go look at the return itself so we can see how this is ultimately being reported, because again, you want to make sure that everything is actually flowing through to the appropriate areas on the tax return. So bring up the 1040 for John here. Recorded some. These are vouchers that TurboTax automatically generated for this year's estimates, right? So if John is going to make estimated tax payments for 2023, these are the vouchers he can use. But for purposes of his extension request, what we see is it's, again, reported down here on line 31. So we'll go look at Schedule 3 too, but again, what's important here is on line 26, we have 2022 estimated tax payments. So if John made estimates throughout the year, those amounts would be reported on line 26. When you make an extension request, and the payment made with the extension, it's not reported on line 26. It's reported on Schedule 3 and then ultimately flows through here. So if we go look at Schedule 3, we can see in Part 2 where they have, so Schedule 3, additional credits and payments. Part 1 are the non-refundable pieces, and then Part 2 are the other payments and refundable credits. And so we can see here on line 10, there's the amount paid with the extension request. So John filed a 4868, extended the return, and with his extension request, he paid 10 grand. And so we've reported the $10,000 here. And the reason why this is obviously so important is because we want to make sure we get credit for this when we actually file the 1040. So now John's got the $10,000 repayment in there, so it's ultimately going to change how much tax refund he's going to get or how much he might owe, right? Okay, so I hope that was helpful. Any questions, feel free to leave me a comment below, and I look forward to seeing you again on the next video. Thanks.